Those of you who keep up with my channel know that we have had big problems with Antichrist Angelina Ballerina, who became Antichrist after Zach Knight's Jesuits fell because of my Gail shield back in August, and we led Zach Knight to Jesus and Rule 13 to Jesus. And she was able to kidnap and seduce Matthew McConaughey, Gerard Butler, Judge Terrence Jenkins, and Hugh Jackman. This all happened basically in September and August. And she had tremendous, I'm speaking in past tense, I'm assuming that we have got her caged. And this could all be wrong. I just had a brief Twitter conversation with Zach Knight, and he told me that the brain-to-brain has been very inaccurate. So I'm not sure how accurate the information I'm giving you now is, but I'm assuming she's been caged. But I think something went wrong during the process, and I think we lost some people on our side. I thought maybe my Gail shield was taking down Jesuits, but I don't think that that is correct. Jesus never said he made the Gail shield to take down Jesuits. It was mainly to protect me. So, and judging by the amount of Jesuits that I'm seeing around me, it sure does not appear that it's taken down Jesuits, and by all the attacks that I've suffered. So I'm going to assume, well, number one, I don't think my Gail shield has taken down Jesuits. I think we have Angelina Ballerina caged. We definitely do not have the Angelina Ballerina Jesuits caged, and it appears that in our attempts to cage her that we may have lost some of my men that she had as her sex slaves, which she captured and kidnapped. I'm not sure, but I've been going online to see what the internet has to say about Gerard Butler, and I've noticed in the past couple weeks they're claiming that he broke up with his alleged girlfriend Morgan Brown, which makes me suspect that perhaps Gerard Butler is no longer with us. That he, maybe in our attempts to cage Angelina, he died. And that's why they're claiming that he no longer has a relationship with Morgan Brown. The Jesuits no longer need to fabricate that relationship because he's not here. And I think another one who might have died might be Judge Terrence Jenkins. The reason I say that is because it appears that something happened with Angelina, and if we were able to, he was one of her sex slaves. He went to a chimp out with his Los Angeles family, and Brent Spiner and Hugh Jackman were with him, and Angelina Ballerina unfortunately showed up at the chimp out and used her brain control powers on everybody there. And the only reason Brent Spiner escaped is because he was weaker than the rest. So Terrence ended up being kidnapped, and I believe Terrence may also be gone. The reason I say this is because Terrence is a very good communicator with me. He knows I'd be worried about him. So if he was alive, he'd want to let me know. So if we, were able to save our men from Angelina, and he was alive, he would get on Skype and let me know. That's just the way he is. So the fact that I haven't heard from Terrence is leading me to suspect that he's not with us anymore. So you may say, well, how do you feel about that? I'm not sure. You say, what about Matthew McConaughey? Rule 13 got kidnapped November 4th, and I'm not sure what's going on with Matthew McConaughey or Hugh Jackman or Rule 13. But I have gone online and seen some pictures of Matthew where he looks like he'd been through a war zone. So I'm starting to think that he might have been saved, maybe by the skin of his teeth, and the same with Hugh Jackman. Rule 13, I have no idea. I hope for Zach Knight's sake that she was saved, but I don't know. I just don't know. So going on that assumption, which could be inaccurate, and that this is not something I've gotten from brain to brain. I've decided to ignore brain to brain because Zach Knight did tell me that brain to brain's been very inaccurate. So I'm going by logic. Going by logic and circumstantial evidence, which I've been able to receive. And of course, a lot of the information that you get online through the internet is highly inaccurate. Anyways, you say, you might say, why would God allow this? I mean, You might say, aren't you evil that in your attempts to free these men from Angelina, you allowed them to die? Let me tell you, we we wanted to rescue these people. We thought we had a surefire plan. Dealing with Angelina, nothing was certain because we're dealing with satanic technology that she gets direct from Satan himself. And it's over. We do the best we can. Jesus refused to get involved, and I've been kind of angry at Jesus, saying, "You're a deadbeat God. Why do you let Satan have so much power? You expect us to defeat him with our puny weapons? We're up against Satan himself, Jesus. Why don't you come down and help us?" It's like it's not fair. It's an uneven match. So, anyways, all I can say is we did our best. We could not allow Angelina to rule the world. She is or was so evil. Actually, she's probably still alive, unless Satan has made somebody else the Antichrist in her place. I don't know. I don't know how much. I don't know how often he can transfer his Antichrist powers from one person to another and still not be in violation of his non-interference agreement. Jesus and Satan have a non-interference agreement where if Satan interferes too much, Jesus has the right to interfere. So apparently Satan knows just how far he can push it before Jesus can come in to rescue us. So I'm not sure if she's still the Antichrist or not. I think we got her out of commission. But she resurrected all the Jesuits, and they're obviously not out of commission, and somebody might have taken her place. So I don't know. We did our best. We didn't know what to do, but we had to do something. We could not allow, her goal was to get all the men on my marriage list as her husbands and use her brain control to make them her sex slaves, though she calls them her husbands. We could not just sit back and let her do this. That would destroy me. And I'm very important in world events right now. I am Jesus Christ's favorite, and I'm the U.S. president as well as the American empress. And if not for me, she would be ruling the world. You know what kind of a world it would be if Angelina ruled the world? Jesus said she's 1,000 times more evil than Zach Knight. We'd all be slaves. None of us would have our free will. She would take over our minds, and we would have to do what she wanted, whether that's what we really wanted or not. She would use brain control on everybody, and we would be doing everything she wants, and we would lose our personalities, and we would become her slaves. That would be the world under Angelina Ballerina. And I just absolutely could not sit back and let that horrible woman do this to the world. We would all be slaves, folks, if Angelina Ballerina was not taken down. So we did what we had to do, okay? You might say, you can argue about the morality. Basically, the moral question is this. You're saying, but you killed innocent people, and maybe other innocents died when you tried to take her down. Well, we did what we had to do. The choice was, do we want to be free or do we want to be slaves? Do you want to lose your mind and allow this person take over your brain and take over your heart? That's the power she had. It was so, I've been arguing with God a lot about this. I've been kind of angry at Jesus. I'm saying, Jesus, that's not right that you give Satan the ability to take over people's hearts and minds. It's slavery, Jesus. It's like you believe in slavery. Jesus was saying, Gail, you don't see the big picture. He seems to be telling me this. So he's not angry at me for being angry at him, but he's saying, Gail, I know what I'm doing. And he seems to be telling me, in the end, everything's going to be okay. And I promised that you and Brent would defeat the Jesuits, and it will happen, Gail. And you're going to marry him too. He promised me, and I do believe it. It's just that what we have to go through on our journey, on our way there, makes me, I'm asking Jesus, why do you allow an Antichrist to have so much power that they're able to make slaves of everybody? They take over their minds. Okay, so you may say, how do you feel? As far as Terrence Jenkins, if he did die, he's in heaven. And the same with Gerard Butler. I think Gerard Butler's gone. Whether Jesus is going to resurrect these people later, I have no idea. Maybe that'll be part of the awesome way we defeat the Jesuits. But my personal opinion, Gerard Butler and Terrance Jenkins are not used to being slaves. They're not used to having their brain taken over. Matthew McConaughey has learned how to deal with it, even though he hates it. And I'm not sure about Hugh Jackman. And I'm not even sure if Hugh's alive or not. So I'm just speculating here. But if it's true that my guess is correct, that um, Terrance and God, she's using brain control on me. Terrance is gone and Gerard Butler's gone. My personal opinion, I think if they were alive and they knew what their bodies did against their will, I think they'd be suffering from such a severe form of post-traumatic stress disorder right now that it's possible it's a mercy killing that they're not with us. I think it would overwhelm them emotionally, mentally. Jesus might have let them die because maybe that's merciful for them. Can you imagine what it would be like for some evil antichrist to take over your brain and you end up making love to somebody that you despise and who makes you got to understand men too. A man, if he doesn't feel like a man, he'd rather die, a real man. And what Angelina Ballerina did was rape men, not just physically, but she raped their manliness from them. You know what it's like for a man when they think they're no longer a man? That makes a man suicidal. It might have been a mercy killing. I think if Terrance Jenkins was alive, he would have hated, and once he got back to his real self and he realized what he did with Angelina Ballerina, he'd probably want to kill himself. So maybe it's a mercy killing that he's no longer with us. Maybe that's why Jesus allowed it. He knew that they just wouldn't have been able to handle it. They would have had such a severe case of post-traumatic stress disorder because of what Angelina did to their brain and forced them to do against their will, that they every day would be a living emotional hell for them. So maybe it's better they're gone. I mean, Jesus knows what he's doing. Okay. And now I think there's a court case going on. They're saying I'm not eligible to be U.S. president because of the tragedies of the innocent people who died because of our attempts to take down Angelina. All I can say is we've done our best, and I'm not crazy about Brent Spiner being in love with me. Folks, back in 1991, I wrote Brent Spiner some fan letters, and they were all friendship only. And it was not my intent to start up a romantic relationship with him. I will admit I was lonely in my marriage, and I did write him, but kind of like a pen pal relationship. And I just needed an outlet, somebody I could just be myself with. And he ended up falling in love with me. He wrote me a letter, a very polite, gentlemanly letter, thanking me for sharing my thoughts with him and for, writing him. And I was so honored that I got that letter that I made a tape, all of Christian hymns, sent it to him. He heard me sing and he fell in love with me. Is it my fault that Brent Spiner fell in love with me? You say, but he didn't fall in love with me. Folks, you can try to weasel your way around this all you want, but I have genius emotional IQ. And he called me on the phone and he talked to me. He didn't identify himself, but the voice, the personality, it was Brent Spiner. I have no doubts. In fact, you can do a mind read on me right now, an emotion read on me right now. I know that Brent Spiner called me in 1991 and made love to me on the phone. And I know that I turned him down for sex. He asked to come over. That was not a troll. That was Brent Spiner. And I say that over my dead body. I am not going to play this game where the Jesuits are saying that was a troll. I know I talked to him. I know he was in love with me. And I know he made the music album, Oh Yellow Eyes Is For Me. And I don't care what that bitch from hell, Lori McBride, says it happened. And she's going to try to deny the truth. I'm telling you, he did. I've had a relationship with Brent since 1991. And if you don't like it, it's because you're an evil devil follower and you don't believe in the truth and you just want to deceive the world into believing a bunch of lies.